محمد وآل محمد.
صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. رسول من الله يتلو صحفا مطهرة فيها كتب قيمة. وما تفرق الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة. وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة. إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. جزاؤهم عند ربهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا. رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا حسين.
Here we are, it's the fourth night of Muharram, we're getting into the swing of things. We've been here commemorating Imam Hussein for 4 nights, and today we had a different question which we wanted to run by you guys. The story of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Hussein's brother, where he allowed Muawiyah he made peace with him. So the question is, why didn't Imam Hussein alayhi salam do the same thing Yazid? Obviously, we know how it turned out in such a tragic way. Why wasn't it that Imam Hussein made peace with Yazid?
Well, we have to remember, right, that each person is made for a different time. And the challenges and the people that we're going to face are going to be different. And so we need to respond appropriately. Now, the important thing is, though, is that our principles, our beliefs, and our morals are always the same. So, for example, we all know that no matter how bad things get, we should always respond or treat people with kindness. That remains the same all the time. Like, till the very end, Imam was always concerned for the welfare of others, even if they were enemy soldiers who were similarly beginning to be thirsty, they would be offered water. Can you imagine having that level of kindness in your heart? I don't know about you. When people are mean to me or rude or something, it's like a little switch gets flicked, and your immediate reaction is not usually one of kindness, right? Like, as human beings, it's actually really tricky to stop, take a deep breath, and remember what you believe in and what is the right response, the right thing to do, which is always kindness. So, yeah, we might think, well, why wasn't Imam Hussein just accepting and peaceful and laying back and kind of trying to make peace like Imam Hassan? But the time that he was in was different. The level of corruption, the level of evil and meanness was like a whole different level of mean and evil, right?
Definitely, yeah. We know that at the time of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he made peace with Muawiyah, who, although he was a bad person, he wasn't planning to, or he wasn't openly planning to destroy Islam. Whereas the way Yazid was at the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we know that he was openly disregarding the rules of Islam. He was drinking and doing all of these other bad things, while saying that he's the leader of Muslims. So to give bay'ah to someone like that, it wouldn't have been the right thing to do. It wouldn't have been possible to keep Islam and allow Islam to continue to get to us and give bay'ah to him. It wouldn't have been possible to do that for Islam to still exist. Right?
Absolutely.
So in that moment, you're so right. He did the right thing. He tried as much as he could to make peace. We know that he never fired the first shot. We know that he kept talking to them. We have, like, in books, we have written down the actual speeches he gave along the way, telling people, I'm the son of Bibi Fatima alayhi salam. I'm the grandson of the Prophet. Just think about what you're doing. Just remind people, trying to switch that switch on inside of them, that good switch, that you know what you're doing is wrong. Come and join me, come. He kept calling them, he kept trying to find peace. Even like you said, when people were being very mean to him, right till the end, he was treating with kindness. And I think that's a huge lesson that we can learn from Imam Hussein and from Karbala, is to treat evil with kindness.
Absolutely. I think perhaps we're just focusing a lot on, of course, and rightly so, the extreme tragedy and battle and atrocities that happened on that 10th day. But leading up to that, he diverted his whole plan, remember? He was going on this most beautiful journey of Umrah with his family and friends, but he knew that if they stayed there, there'd be bloodshed, and he wanted to be peaceful. So he tried to leave that situation. Like, how many times if you're like bickering with your brother or sister or something, and your parents might come and try to separate you so that you're, trying to diffuse the situation. He did that all along the way, trying to diffuse things, trying to speak to them calmly, kindly, rationally, try and have them understand right from wrong. He was always trying his best, always, never ever gave up. So perhaps we've missed all of that happened before the end battle, which, as you said, let's not forget, he never threw the first punch. He never hit with the sword first. It was always just in defense of his faith and of his friends and family. We really need to remember that.
And I think it's really hard when somebody is being mean to you in our own lives, or when someone is doing something which is not a nice thing, to not react in the same way. Now, obviously, there is a beauty in standing up for yourself and in holding your own space that way, but to be kind to somebody when they're being mean to you is something that Ahlul Bayt always practice. We have this story, we have so many stories. So we have the story, for example, of when Imam Hassan alayhi salam came, there was a man who came from another city, and he had heard bad things about Imam Hassan's dad, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he was literally just talking badly about Imam Hassan's father, Imam Ali, to him. And instead of, the minimum in that scenario, the least I would have said is, why don't you take a second and think about what you're saying, because you clearly got it wrong. He shows me how to act. He said, you know what, I think you might be from out of town. Do you want some food? I can give you some food. Do you have a place to stay? Let me give you a place to stay. He acted with so much kindness that that person would be thinking that if this is the son of the man that I'm talking about, then how beautiful must that man have been? And we have the story about the woman and the rubbish, Prophet Muhammad's story that we all know, right? Such beautiful stories, alhamdulillah. You guys all know that story. She threw rubbish relentlessly on Rasulullah day after day after day, and he patiently just walked through. The day that she did not throw that rubbish, he didn't say, yay, hooray, alhamdulillah, no rubbish from my head. He actually became concerned for that lady and went to check on her. Hands up, honestly, guys. How many of you would do that if you were in that situation? Yeah, let's be real for a moment. It's actually really difficult. And you know, another thing really important to remember is you might think, oh gosh, you know, compared to what Imam did, just being kind, it's just a small tiny act, just a small tiny thing, like what difference does it make? Well, there's that story of the lizard and the fire right at the time of Prophet Ibrahim. When he was going to be thrown into that ginormous fire, it was such a huge fire, people could feel the heat from kilometers away. And the animals and people were all gathered around to see what was going to happen. And along comes the tiniest of lizard who spits on the fire, and the animals start making fun of him. Look at you, little lizard, what do you think you're doing spitting on this huge fire? And that lizard turns to the animals and confidently says, when Allah asks me, what did you do when Prophet Ibrahim was threatened with such horrible situation? I can say, I tried my best to defend what was right. So these small akhlaq, these small acts, even if it's something like just being kind when someone is mean to you, is actually a really big deal in the eyes of Allah. All of this that we're doing, we're gathering, listening, making promises and acting, is to try and better ourselves so we're ready for Imam when he finally comes. So having kindness as your gut reaction is the perfect way of purifying your soul and being ready as a soldier of Imam, inshallah. So true, it's so true. I think we have to constantly, we talked about this in the other lectures, we have to constantly remember who we are. First of all, that's what Muharram reminds us. We are Shia of Imam Ali. We are Shia of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. These stories, they're not just stories for us to hear and then leave. They're stories for us to learn how to be, how we actually are inside, how Allah made us. Allah made us, our fitrat, our part inside of us that tells us what's good. That part we have to listen to. We know what it is to be kind. And we as Shias, when someone, however somebody else acts, we don't lower our standards. We know who we are and we know how to be kind. We just have to think, what would Bibi Fatima do in this situation? How would Imam Ali handle this situation?
Absolutely, it's like being in that room of darkness, right? All you can see in that moment is the rudeness, or the evil, or the meanness. But someone's got to turn that light on, right? Like Imam Hussein is described as being the lantern of salvation, the lantern of guidance. Like, who wouldn't want to then follow that light? Everyone's going to be attracted to it. Maybe that can be you. Maybe you can turn that light on. Show everyone what it's like to be kind. And who knows what will be drawn to that light and that kindness.
Sometimes we don't realize the effect, how big an effect we can have with a small action, like you said. So sometimes something as simple as a smile. So you see somebody who looks a bit down and you just smile at them. That can change their entire day. We know sometimes that's changed our entire days. And also realizing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like you said, He notices everything. He says it in the Quran, هَلْ جَزَاءُ الْإِحْسَانِ إِلَّا الْإِحْسَانِ. What is the reward for doing good except good? Imagine Allah doing good to you because you decided to be good to somebody who didn't technically deserve it. So just realizing that we have the power to control how we react to a situation. So we have a takeaway for you to try it out.
Absolutely. So listen guys, we know that we all run into people and perhaps we have run-ins and people are a bit mean or say something that's annoying or frustrating or winds us up the wrong way.
Especially brothers and sisters.
And we will typically react with a little bit of anger or frustration back, right? Well, our challenge is that actually we'd like you to try to switch things up a little bit. So the next time you feel like reacting in anger or frustration, just hold that thought for a moment and react in kindness. Take a deep breath. Could be something as simple as smiling, saying something nice, saying a kind word,
The important thing is not just to not do anything. It's not enough to just be like, I'm not reacting. The important thing with this challenge is to try and purposely do something kind in that moment for that person. It's hard, but we think you can do it.
And we're going to try it too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see you tomorrow. Get working on that, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
On the table. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother. They killed my brother." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." When the night fell on that desert camping, a lonely voice was heard in morning. Then she looked and saw someone approaching, one who would join her in her grieving. She had come to see her progeny and what had become of their death, but she could not let her to close. She did not want her to really see. I do not want you to go further. You will only see pain and horror. Body with no head, 72 dead. Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother. They've killed my brother." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Before you were born, my loving daughter, I was on the spot, your grandfather. He told me what was to be for my son and how it would be your tragedy. My brother told me of this day as well. I knew what was to become of me. But even then, I could not then witness when I saw Shemar walking to hell. My mother, you cannot bear to see what they did to his broken body. Arrow in his heart, never ripped apart. Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother. They've killed my brother." Zainab said, "Do not look, Ya Zahra." Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجهم.
MashaAllah.
Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجهم.
Jahān جس کو نادانے سمجھتے تھے سبھی تیرا کمال، جس کو نادانے سمجھتے تھے سبھی تیرا کمال، رن میں آیا تو وہی بچہ سمجھدار
واہ
لگا گل چراغ کو جہاں نور کا بازار
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل
سلام.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
سلام.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، 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 میرا اصغر جو نیزے سے، میرا اصغر جو نیزے سے مجھے اب بھی بلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا 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 ہے، میں ہر ماں سے یہ کہتی ہوں بتاؤ دل پہ رکھ کر ہاتھ، ہو جس کی عمر 6 ماہ کی، وہ ماں کا کیسے چھوڑے ساتھ، میں قیدی بن کے آئی ہوں، میں قیدی بن کے آئی ہوں، وہ کربل میں سماتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مناظر وہ قیامت کے ہے دیکھے میں نے آنکھوں سے، زمین پر ڈھونڈنے کی غرض سے مارے تھے جو نیزے، ہر ایک مارا گیا نیزہ، ہر ایک مارا گیا نیزہ، میرے دل کو دکھاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے۔ بتاتی تم کو منظر ہوں میں اصغر کی شجاعت کا، وہ اصغر پہ جو حرمل نے تھام داغا تیر سے شعبہ، بہت حیران تھا قاتل، بہت حیران تھا قاتل کہ اصغر مسکراتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے۔ سنا پر سر ہے اصغر کا، یہ منظر کس طرح دیکھوں، میرا دل تو یہ کرتا ہے اسے آغوش میں لے لوں، سروں کا قافلہ آگے، سروں کا قافلہ آگے، میرے جس وقت آتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے۔ ستاتی یاد ہے ہر پل مجھے اصغر کے جھولے کی، سکینہ نے اصغر کو جھلاتی جس میں جھولا تھی، سکینہ ہے نہ اصغر ہے، سکینہ ہے نہ اصغر ہے، ویرانہ دل جلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے۔ دکھا کر خون میں ڈوبا گلا نازک سے اصغر کا، میں پوچھوں گی بروز حشر، بتا مجھ کو خدا بندہ، بھلا یوں پیاس کم سن کی، بھلا یوں پیاس کم سن کی، کوئی آخر بجھاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے۔ نہیں بیٹھی ہے پھر مہدی کبھی سائے میں دکھیا ماں، نہ ٹھنڈا پانی پیتی ہے، گلے میں اٹکی اس کی جان، کہ وقت رخصت اصغر کہ وقت رخصت اصغر اسے اب بھی ستاتا ہے. مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے. میرا اصغر جو نیزے سے، میرا اصغر جو نیزے سے مجھے اب بھی بلاتا ہے، مجھے اصغر رلاتا ہے. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.